Here we go.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the SP and Bushy Show. Two lifelong friends who started a podcast together. I'm SP, he's Bushy. Bushy, how you feeling?
I'm feeling really good, my man. It's just one of these, I guess it's just great. I mean, it's just a great time to be a sports fan right now. We're right in the midst of a, kind of this end of the regular season for baseball. And then now we're, for football's in full swing, man. I mean, we're week 3, week 4 already. It's just amazing. I'm very, very excited.
Absolutely. It's going to be a great time. We're going to break down the playoff chases in both leagues, maybe even give you, our MVP picks, our award picks here in the MLB. And then we'll also get into a little bit of pro football, just see our reactions to last week. But let's start things off with college, man. It was an exciting week in the NCAA football.
Yes, it was, it was a crazy week too. Just seen a lot of top teams kind of losing as well. I mean, it really was an interesting week of college football. And then, and actually seeing Alabama actually really get tested for probably the first time and probably in a couple of years, really. I mean, you saw, I guess Ole Miss was kind of the team that really kind of tested him last year, but really, they really had that game in hand. I mean, this really felt like for the first time in 2 years, Alabama actually looked like they could have lost the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a very exciting game with them in Florida. I mean, it was a fantastic contest. And I mean, I can't wait to hopefully see those two teams face off again in the SEC championship game.
Yes, just give it to me again. And and obviously with Auburn and Penn State, that was a really fun game to watch, that night game. And then, BYU, Arizona State, that was a really good game. And then we had an awesome Pac-12 after dark game, with UCLA and Fresno State. That was an exciting game. So if you stayed up, you watched a lot of good college football.
You certainly did. I mean, you called it with Fresno State, by the way, beating UCLA. You pegged that one last week on the show.
Yes, I did peg that. Yeah. I mean, Fresno State is actually a really, really good team. I mean, it's just, they're a really, really good team, and they proved it. They proved it then. I mean, you thought, oh, okay.
They also took Oregon to the limit.
Yeah. They took Oregon to the limit, and now they beat UCLA. I mean, really, they should just join the Pac-12 right now. I mean, seriously, they're good as half of those Pac-12 teams.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they beat one last week, kept up with one, and I mean, you got some of these other teams like Colorado that lost by 30 last week that don't look like they're doing well. USC bouncing back too with the new coach. They're knocking off Washington State. That was kind of a little bit of a surprise to me too.
Yeah, I guess they had like a good second half, really. I mean, the first half they really kind of struggled and got things going, but during that second half they really kind of turned it on as well. And then I guess the shocking result too for me, I guess has been Oklahoma, Nebraska. I mean, Nebraska really kind of held on to that game, really. I mean, and it was actually a pretty exciting game as well. And then obviously Cincinnati, Indiana, Cincinnati, that little darling, still staying in there as college football playoff wall for the mid majors.
Hopefully they can break down that wall, because I mean, I feel like obviously they deserve to be there last year. This year, a good win against a good Indiana team, and I mean, you can only beat who's put in front of you. And until the playoff committee actually puts someone in front of them, we'll never know how good they truly are. Another good game to talk about was Oklahoma State at Boise State. That was a fantastic contest too. 1-point win for the Cowboys. I mean, really, really good football being played this weekend.
Yes, really good football playing this weekend. And it was actually a very, very exciting game to watch as well. And really, you had a little controversy too with the fumble that was blown dead. They thought the person was down. I mean, a little controversy too. I guess we'll talk about too with like the refs as well. I mean, really, if there's anything who had a bad week, it was just officiating all around, really. And then that's with the NFL and the college football level. Yeah, with the with the intentional grounding, and then literally Penn State having to literally punt on third down. I guess we wanted to experiment a little bit on the Canadian football rules, but it
was a bad week for officiating. I have a lot of comments. I feel like I have more comments on the NFL side of things just because I saw a little bit more of it. That said, you got to look at it too. Just a really big black eye weekend again for the ACC as they had a great win with Louisville against UCF. Very exciting.
That was a
game
really
on
good
Friday
game
night.
too. Yeah, we
Yeah,
had that game on Friday night. That was actually a really good game as well.
it was a great game.
Yeah, it was so funny too because you thought, oh, UCF is going to win because they caused the turnover, and then they give the ball back and won on a pick on a pick six. Man, I mean that was an exciting game, and you know you got to give credit. You got to give credit too. As well to Tulsa. I mean, they really kind of hung in. I mean, I know the score says Ohio State won by 21, but trust me, that score was definitely a lot closer than a lot of people suspected as well.
Yeah, Ohio State looking like they're still reeling from the loss to Oregon. But like I said, really big black eye weekend for the SEC or ACC rather. You have Virginia Tech ranked. They lose to West Virginia. Michigan or Miami getting thrashed again by Michigan State. They are looking awful. How they've been ranked this whole time is beyond me. They look bad. And even my team, who I thought was starting to look good in the ACC, Pitt, ends up losing to Western Michigan.
Yeah, really. I guess the only glaring, and really, I mean, I guess the leader too with Clemson. I know it's an ACC battle. They really look sloppy. Like they really had to take it to the end to really beat Georgia Tech as well. Really, the most impressive team you have to look for has been North Carolina, which won very impressively against
they lost to Virginia Tech.
I know, and it's just weird, but they've been probably the most impressive team. They're a team that's really has bounced back. After that loss, they've really had some dominating wins so far, and that's been North Carolina.
You know who's leading the ACC right now is Wake Forest at 3-0, 1-0 in conference. They beat up on lowly Florida State, which I never thought I'd say that in my life, that Wake Forest is leading the ACC and Florida State's 0-3. But here we are in this topsy-turvy world where Wake Forest is leading the ACC. And it looks like they might be their best chance at a BCS team.
I mean, this,
college football playoff team.
Yeah, this feels like that. This feels like that 06-07 year. You know, remember in like in the ACC, you know, where Wake Forest actually did win the ACC that year. I believe it wasn't in 06. So I mean, it's just, I guess, you know what? Once in a while, you got to have a crazy year sometimes with these, you know, with these conferences as well. You know, sometimes you got to have a crazy year where you're just like, where did this team come from? So that really helps, I guess, with the college football.
I mean, it definitely does. Once again, a lot of exciting games though coming up this weekend. Any other thoughts on last weekend before we look ahead?
Nope. I mean, I'm very, very excited for, I guess I'm kind of excited for this next slate of games.
Absolutely. Notre Dame, Wisconsin. I'm really excited for that one. I think that's one that jumps out to me. Obviously, you got A&M, Arkansas. That one could be really good too. So, I mean, there's some exciting games again this week.
I mean, you have UCLA, Stanford, you have Kansas State, Oklahoma State. I think that's going to be a decent game. You know, how does Florida bounce back after a loss against Tennessee? You know, West Virginia looked very impressive against Virginia Tech. I mean, could they go to Norman and actually kind of upset Oklahoma, who's actually have not looked very, very, you know, I guess, you know, Oklahoma-like. So that could be an interesting game to see.
Absolutely. Also keep an eye on Boise State, Utah State. That could be a good football game as well.
Oh, that could definitely be a really good game. I'm very intrigued right now. I mean, it's not a lot of like sexy matchups where you're like, oh man, I need to see this game. But there are some good college football, I guess, kind of spread around through this entire slate of games.
All right. Yeah, I'm excited too. Let's move.
Oh, you're not excited for Colorado State, Iowa? I mean, come on.
Oh, I'm excited for it. I mean, I think it'll be. I mean, Colorado State coming off of a huge win over the Toledo Rockets there. Let's also not forget Iowa State Baylor could be sneaky good too.
It could be sneaky good, although Baylor did lose to Kansas, folks. I mean, we got to, you know.
I thought Baylor won that game,
or did they?
Yeah, Baylor beat Kansas 45-7.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that.
Come on.
I wanted to get.
Didn't win a football game.
I wanted to see if you were paying attention.
Get out of here.
I know Iowa State Baylor could be. Oh man, come on. I mean, do you want to go see the slaughter that is Georgia Vanderbilt? You know.
Yeah, I'll go to Nashville anytime, man.
Yeah, go to just an excuse to go to Nashville.
Let's not overlook it. Missouri Boston College could be fun.
Ooh, I'm very, very intrigued by that. I like that a lot.
Yeah. Let's see how that goes in Chestnut Hill this weekend.
And then you'll be like, oh man, we're back to it.
Yeah, I might hate it by halftime, but we'll see what happens.
Yes.
In any event, let's talk some NFL. Another exciting weekend of games there as well. But you mentioned it earlier, the referees, man. It felt like they basically handed the Cowboys that football game against the Chargers last weekend. And then a lot of just questionable calls, like even that Cowboys Chargers game. There was one play where they called Herbert as sacked way before he even got, while he was still standing, he got sacked with one guy in his face. He hadn't even gotten him on the ground yet. He hadn't even wrapped him up yet.
Yeah, he was quote unquote in the grass, I mean, it's just like it was that old in the grass rule, from the 80s and 90s where it really, I mean, it was technically kind of, but yeah, it was definitely like a bad call. Like I was kind of shocked. I was like, I thought it was like an incomplete pass. And I'm like, oh man, here they go, have to kick a field goal. And then literally the ref was like, oh yeah, he actually was sacked at that play. I'm like, what? How did he get sacked? I mean, he's not even wrapped up on that.
Yeah, he wasn't even wrapped up. The guy had like a hand on him.
Yeah, I mean, it gave him a little bit of a hug, but it wasn't like too serious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe, yeah. I mean, it wouldn't even count as getting to first base with him.
I mean, it was definitely the filling out process, I guess, where he was, I mean, it was getting the hands on the hips. He was seeing if the girl really liked him or not. And, obviously with the way Herbert was throwing, he was back away. You could tell he did not want any of that.
I mean, evidently. That said, I mean,
but I mean, I guess he was like, I guess the ref was kind of like the chaperone of like a sixth grade dance where it's just like, okay, getting a little too close.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's the way to look at it. He was refereeing a middle school dance.
Yeah. Basically he was just like, whoa, getting a little too close, a little too much action there, on Herbert. we got to blow the flag. We got to blow the whistle.
Like I said, I mean, I feel like we're critical of officials a lot, but it's like, I just want to see them get better. Like this, like they just need to be better. Like this is just not good.
I mean, with all the time, with all like with the quote unquote the questionable taunting calls, which some of them are, some of them, a lot of them were, probably most of them. I mean, it was just crazy. I guess there's going to be a little bit of a positive here. There wasn't one coach's challenge whatsoever. Well, like no coaches like actually throwing the red flag. So
but is that because they know that they never overturn the refs?
That is true. They probably know something that we don't. as far as with that.
Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, it was bad. Like, but I have to admit, it was a fun. Like the morning games were okay. I mean, I found the morning games to be, definitely kind of boring, but the afternoon games really made up for it as well. And obviously with the game of, I guess the game of, the game of the day, or I guess the afternoon and the Sunday night game as well. I mean, they definitely made it up for it. I mean, obviously with, I guess the game of the day really was that Chiefs Ravens game.
I mean, that was a great game. You had Tennessee, Seattle. That was also fantastic. You also had the Vikings continuing their kicking woes against the Cardinals in a fantastic game as well.
Right. Yeah. And I guess we got to do the bonehead, person of the week, really. And that's got to be the Vikings commentator, Paul Allen. I mean, really, with him, you got to put him up. You got to put him up, I mean, he's cheering as though they kicked the winning field goal. And he was so excited because he has been through all those all those years of, Vikings terrible kickers or something like that. I mean, just to see a kicker actually kick an actual field goal, I guess he really had to psych himself out, and he was so excited only to find out it was, he missed it. And he missed it really, really left.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, he's definitely got to be the bonehead, dropping the ball there. But I mean, like, what is it about Vikings kickers that they just cannot kick a field goal in a clutch situation?
I don't know. It's just so fascinating. Like really, and you could just see the look on Mike Zimmer's face. He's just like, just seeing him taking off the headset. Like, he's just like, oh man, same crap every week, there you go. Losing the game on a field goal kicker. Like, he's just like, I've been through this before. It happened again. Like, he's so numb to it now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's got to be just one of those, oh, here we go again. Like he probably knew it was wide left before he even sent him out there.
I'm part of this loser pool, and I actually had the Vikings to lose. So I was very, very excited when the kick went right, so I was very, very excited for that one as well.
You didn't take Atlanta and take the free loss.
I'm saving my Atlanta picks. Okay. In this poll, you can only pick the same team twice. So I'm saving my Atlanta Falcons, who really, I mean, they really played I guess they really had a nice, third quarter, to kind of bounce, to kind of bring themselves back. But yeah, I mean, and then Matt Ryan decided, oh yeah, oh yeah, that's right, we're the Falcons. So, I'm going to throw 2 picks or something like that. I mean, really, has there really been a man? I mean, it's just like, who do you trust more? Do you trust more of Matt Ryan or Ben Roethlisberger right now? Because I mean, I feel like they're basically the same person, as far as with that. I mean, really, they just hit the check downs, and it's just like, I've never seen Matt Ryan get so many batted balls down. Like, it's crazy. Like, I've seen that so much this year. I guess maybe I'm paying attention a little bit more, but I just feel like he's just getting the balls batted down, like at the line of scrimmage, so much this year so far.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely been struggling, and I feel like that MVP season of a few years ago is a distant memory for him right now. He almost, I think, needs to get out of Atlanta because it feels like whatever's going on there is in his head.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, just kind of get out of Atlanta. Kind of make a fresh start, go somewhere else. Maybe go to Minnesota or something like that.
Yeah.
Or something, it's just, who knows? Maybe go be a Jet, back up Zach Wilson.
He get the start ahead of Zach Wilson, man. Zach Wilson, I might get the start ahead of Zach Wilson with the way he's chucking it around right now. And now he's got the Broncos this week. I can't wait.
I mean, if I'm the Colts, should they make a trade? I know with Wentz being kind of hurt, should they make a trade for Matt Ryan?
Maybe.
That would be an interesting trade. If I'm the Colts, I'll be like, okay, I mean, it's just, he kind of lost to the Seahawks, and then you kind of hunt him with the Rams, even though it's one of those games I felt like, they didn't really like, they kind of stayed in the game where they had, they kind of hunted, and they had the fluke special team, but they really didn't feel like they were hanging in. And really, I mean, it's just, and Wentz is really kind of a liability right now. So, I mean, do you make a trade right now? I feel like you should make a trade.
They're going to stick with him. They're going to stick with them. They're going to look at it like they lost to 2 playoff teams, and then they're going to lose this week to a 3rd playoff team. And so that's how it's going to go.
I guess so. Yeah. And it's just, and really, I mean, we got, and I guess we got to talk about too, some of these, week 1 teams that looked all world, in week 1 looked like complete, doggy, and that really has to be, we got to look at the Saints and the Eagles. I mean, really,
I think we all knew the Eagles was a fluke, but
but really the Saints,
yeah,
I was kind of shocked by that one. I mean, it's just, that was really a terrible loss, and really they weren't in it. And it gets, really, I guess Jameis Winston really was like, oh, I'm Jameis Winston again.
Yeah, absolutely. He Cinderella turned into a pumpkin again for James.
He did, yes. And the Raiders seem to keep their mojo. I mean, they've been kind of, I guess, really, I mean, they've been kind of the most impressive, I guess, 2-0 team so far. I mean, they've been a team that's really been impressive so far, beating Baltimore and the Steelers.
They really have. It's been a good showing so far for them out of the gate. It's going to be interesting to see if they can sustain it. Like, I can't tell if they're officially like a fluke or not. I mean, I think they get a couple more weeks where they can kind of feel it out, because they get the Dolphins this week. I think they can win that one, and then they go to the Chargers, where there will probably be more Raiders fans than Chargers fans. So it'll be an interesting few weeks for the Raiders. But let's not forget, they started off hot last year too, and then tanked.
Yeah, that's the only thing that reserves me. I mean, is it going to be another year again where they start off hard? Yeah, where they go like 6-2, 6-3 to start off the season, and then really kind of fall apart at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish Ryan Fitzpatrick was on the Dolphins still, man, because then they could have just recreated that game last year, and we would just be seeing a bunch of film clips, with the Raiders Dolphins game of him completing a pass literally while getting face masked,
Oh, yeah.
And So, but unfortunately, we won't get to see it.
And how about Tennessee too? Tennessee bouncing back against Seattle. That was a huge win for them.
Yeah, that was a huge win for them as well. I mean, and they were down 14 going in the fourth quarter. And really, I mean, in the giving up really 2 long touchdowns, especially the second one, where really, I mean, I guess they were practicing social distancing, man, where it's just like, man, there was not a DB in sight as well. I mean, you and I probably could have caught it and ran for a touchdown. That's how wide open that person was.
Absolutely. No. Crazy win for them. And then, I mean, we talk about the bonehead of the week. You got to give the hero of the week award to John Harbaugh for going for it on that 4th and 1, making sure they don't punt the ball back to Mahomes and getting that extra yard to make sure that they didn't have to sweat it out for that final minute.
Yeah, that was an impressive victory. I mean, you gotta call it as it is. I believe that was the Chiefs choke. The Chiefs kind of choked away that game. I mean, they were up. Yeah, they were up by 11 in the fourth quarter. And then really, I mean, they could, then they kind of scored, and then Chiefs kind of went to a 3 and out, and then Ravens kind of scored, and then Chiefs were like, oh, okay, let's be that. And then they kind of fumbled it away. I mean, that was really like a Chiefs choke to me. I mean, I kind of thought of it as one of those. I'm like, oh, it's one of those. Oh, the Chiefs let it get away from them. But I rewatched that game on Monday, and I was like, wow, the Chiefs actually choked this one away. Really, I mean, it's just like I give credit where the Ravens, man, but the Chiefs really kind of choked this one away, which we could, you could kind of see habits forming. Could this be a habit for them? Now
I doubt it. I mean,
I doubt it, but
without the fumble, they obviously marched down and win that game. But I mean, I think I almost got to give Andy Reid my bonehead of the week. I don't see why, after like they're completing 10-yard passes the entire way down the field, like why they would even try a running play.
Yes, and the running game really hasn't been good for the past couple of years. It really hasn't. I mean,
they don't need a good running game.
No, they don't. They don't. Yeah, they could just have Patrick Mahomes, throw the ball for, 60 times again. I think they would be fine. So, it will really, I get you got to run the ball to kind of mix it up a little bit, That's my only defense.
It's not on that final drive, though. You didn't need to worry about that.
No, you didn't have to worry about that. And it's just one of those moves. I mean, it's just, what are you doing?
I said, I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it either. Just overall, like, good, not a very good morning slate, but a really good afternoon and night games, full slate of games.
Absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun last week. Let's look ahead again to this week. Actually, you know what? I got one more question I want to ask you.
What's
before
up?
We look ahead to this week's games. Which team that started 2-0 right now do you think has the best chance to go 17-0? And which team that started 0-2 so far has the best chance to go 0-17?
That's easy. The first, the best team that's going to go 17-0, and that's the Denver Broncos. Okay, no, I'm just kidding.
Tampa Bay or Carolina and Sam Darnold.
Tampa Bay is probably looking the best. I mean,
Carolina and Sam Darnold, they're going to do
it. They're going to do it. Yes. And watch them lose to the Texans this week. You're like, oh, that's why.
Oh no, Tyrod Taylor's out. They got this one in the bag.
These Thursday night games are always weird. So it's one of these weird week. I feel like this could be like a weird Thursday night game where we're like, oh yeah, Panthers are going to win. Panthers are going to look amazing. And you watch, the Texans are going to be hanging in. It's probably going to be like 13-17, in the fourth quarter, and the Texans could be driving as well. I mean, it's tough, I mean, just looking at some of these 0-2 teams. I mean, some of these 0-2 teams, really, I mean, it's just, I guess for me would have to probably be, as crazy as it sounds, even though they lost by the field goal kicker, really, it's been Minnesota. I mean, they've been kind of these games, I know, as crazy as it sounds.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't, it's like, do you trust Atlanta? No. Do you trust Detroit? No. Do you trust the Jets or the Giants? No. I mean, really, the only team I could probably think of is probably the Colts, really. I mean, after seeing all the 0-2 teams, really, those are the only two teams I could kind of see maybe kind of getting out of the cellar and maybe kind of making a run for the playoffs.
Oh, I asked you which 0-2 teams most likely to go 0-17.
Oh, 0 and
And
17.
that
I'm
answer for
sorry.
me is obviously the Falcons. They look awful on both sides of the ball right now.
They look awful on both sides of the ball, and you can't fault the Jaguars. They may lose a game. They may lose a game here or there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
but
may lose a
I agree.
game. The Jets obviously look really bad, but I mean, the Falcons are, to me, through 2 weeks, look like the team that looks like they're going to go 0-17 and then draft
Uh,
Matt Ryan's replacement.
I'm sorry, I misinterpreted the question or something
No,
like
I
that.
like
And
the I like
yeah,
your question too. Like I agree. They have the 0-2 teams right now. Minnesota. I
yeah,
mean, they are 0-2 with a -4 point differential so far. So I mean, they're a team that's definitely got the potential to bounce back. I agree.
yeah. And the Lions and the Jaguars, though, they have a -26 point differential right now, so that could. But I do see the Lions maybe kind of stealing a game. Like they kind
Yeah,
of looked. They looked a little
they
bit.
have some fight.
They have some bite where I think they could be a little bit frisky and maybe kind of steal a game here or there. So
Yeah,
I don't think the Lions will duplicate the 08 Lions. I mean, I think Jacksonville could have a chance as well. I mean, and
yeah.
it could depend too if if Lawrence kind of stays upright. If he does get hurt, man. I mean, this team could really slide down. And we could be talking about an 0-17 team and Urban Meyer out the door.
You could theoretically, like I said, I don't think that's going to happen. I think that Lawrence is going to find his way here in a couple of weeks. And I mean, look at how well they adjusted early on. They made some good adjustments from last week against the Broncos defense on that opening drive. They're just going to need to be able to sustain it. I mean, they have an easy schedule. I think they'll be all right.
Yes, but I do agree with you. I think the Falcons may have a chance to go 0-17.
So
This
bad.
is really a bad team. Really,
They
I mean,
look
the
really bad
defense,
right now.
yeah, the defense looks really bad, and the offensive line is probably the worst in football. Really, I mean, the Falcons' offensive line, like it just felt like every time Matt Ryan stepped back to pass, like I think that's the reason why he has to quick hit everything because he can only keep the ball for 1.5 seconds or else he's going to get sacked.
Exactly. I mean, so yeah, I think we agree there. What game? I mean, obviously you're going to Broncos Jets, but what game are you most excited to see this week?
Man, I mean, there's a few. I mean, Chargers Chiefs, looks interesting. I mean, did the Chiefs
Tampa
bounce
Bay
back?
Rams.
Yeah, Tampa Bay Rams are going to be really good. Oh yeah, I'm all in for Falcons Giants though. Like, put me in. I want to go.
Someone's gotta win it.
We should go to New York. We should just go to New York just for that purpose, just so we could see Giants Falcons. I mean, really the Blunder Bowl. So yeah, we won't have. So one of those teams will not be 1-2. So one of those teams will not be, or there could be a tie. You know what? I'm praying for a tie, so both teams could still be winless.
Exactly. And it feels like every time Seattle and Minnesota play, it's an exciting game.
Oh yeah, that's going to be an interesting game. I mean, Bengals Steelers could be a decent game. I don't think both teams are. Oh man, it's just
Green Bay, San Francisco. It feels like is also always fun.
yes, and Eagles Cowboys on Monday night. That's going to be an interesting game.
I don't think so
yeah.
at all. But.
Oh, I think so. I think that's going to be a good game. I really do.
All right.
I think so. Yeah. You're not excited for Bears Browns? Just
I think so too. I think the Matt Nagy train is going to derail Baker Mayfield and make sure that Bushy knows that Matt Nagy is still safe.
Matt Nagy's still safe. I mean, he's going to be first. He's still going to be first coach fired for me. I'm so. Actually, that's what we should do. We should pick like what I think that's what we should do. We should just go to like one of these like really bad games, between like two really horrible teams and just go to the game and just kind of vlog it, just kind of vlog the atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's just, Falcons Giants. I mean, really, and it's going to be in New York. So it just sounds like a bad game to be at, really.
Yeah, absolutely. You make it to the Meadowlands just for that purpose.
Yeah, you make it to the Meadowlands just as that, and yeah. I mean, it's the week 3 slate just doesn't look appealing to me. Like, it's just like there are a couple of games.
Yeah,
that look interesting. Yeah, but it's nothing very, very exciting for me where I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited for this game.
Exactly. All right, let's talk a little bit about, let's move on. Let's get things going with some MLB playoffs, just 2 weeks away. Obviously a super exciting time for baseball. I mean, and these playoff races are taking shape. It's going to be an exciting postseason. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, these playoff races are getting good. Where do you want to start? Like I said, this is a lot of fun going on here.
Uh, Well, it looks like most of all the divisions really have really kind of been sealed up. I mean, unless really like some team like really collapses. So you
Right.
got it. You got to
The Braves aren't quite
except for the
safe yet.
except for the NL East. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just looking at the standings now, just really everything except for the NL East. You have the Braves against the Phillies right now, and you could have one of these interesting possibilities too. So Atlanta and Colorado rained out, and who knows if Atlanta loses and the Phillies start winning. I mean, Colorado and Atlanta could be playing each other on that Monday as well. So that would be an interesting game, to kind of really decide the NL East or the NL East. So I would be very, very excited for that. I'm a sucker for that. So it's just like you would get all the playoff games, plus you get like
Plus, you get the Rockies playing an extra October game.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, come on, give me Rocktober one more day, baby.
One more day. I mean, it's also interesting because the same Braves have a game that's suspended, so they have a doubleheader against San Diego here in a couple of days. I mean, they did look out and that they have a 4-game series against the Diamondbacks that they're in right now. But I mean, they have the Padres on the road, the Phillies at home, and then the Mets. I mean, it's going to be an interesting finale to the season for the Braves. I mean, like I said, that series against the Phillies is going to be a huge series.
Yes, and I get and really too the NL West too. I mean, San Francisco and LA are kind of neck and neck right now, and the Rockies are going to be in the forefront right now with playing 3 against LA right now, and then playing 3 against the Giants. I mean, really, the Rockies could really decide the NL West really, this week right now. So it's going to be very, very interesting. And yeah, they could be deciders of like, yes, we want you to be the NL West champs. So yeah,
well, you're going full Homer, man. You just want to talk about the Rockies.
Yes, I am going full Homer right now. I mean, they're still technically in the wild card race. I mean, yes, really, it's like a really like a 0.1% chance, but they're still technically still in it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, they're still technically still in it, but yeah, and then obviously the next race too is probably for that second wild card right now. But it looks like, I hate to admit it, St. Louis is playing really well, and they just won 10 in a row. 10 in a row and looking very, very dominant right now, and sweeping the Padres, which that helps them a lot, with this wild card race. So I hate to admit it, but they're getting hot just at the right time. I know. I thought this wasn't going to happen this series. I thought this wasn't going to happen this year, but obviously I've been proven wrong. I mean, really, they're turning into this crazy run right now.
It feels like they do that kind of thing, though. They do that.
They do that. They've done it for the past 2-3 years. Really. I mean, it's just like they get when we had 162 game seasons where it's just like they've looked completely flat, playing 500 baseball, just enough. And then once August, middle of August hits, that's when they really start kind of turning it on and started looking like a really dominant baseball team. They seem to do it every year. It's just crazy about that.
It is. It's nuts. They look like they're poised for some postseason baseball. Yeah. I mean, the Reds, I think, are the only team that, they've struggled. Obviously, the Padres have fallen off the face of the earth.
Yeah, they've been kind of the disappointing team the second half of the season. If we're talking maybe disappointing second half teams, you got to point to the Padres. They've not looked like the team that they've had. And really, it's just really kind of a fallback. It's just, and they're losing games here and there, and there's some yelling in the dugout with Machado and Tatis. Really, it's an interesting, spectacle right now. And it's just like, we'll have to wait and see, maybe they can pull up their bootstraps, the next 2 weeks and really kind of kind of lock it in and kind of win this, or maybe kind of get on a nice hot streak, and maybe St. Louis kind of falls back a little bit, and then boom, they're right back in that second wild card hunt.
I don't see that happening. I mean, you got to look at the Reds, man. The Reds seem like the team that was poised to do this thing, and then they blow it, and they've lost 3 of the 5 games they've had so far against the Pirates. And I mean, they're lucky that they get 4 against the Nationals, then they get the White Sox, and then they get the Pirates again. Like, it looked like this was going to work out so favorably for them. They had 9 games against the Pirates, and they couldn't close the deal.
Yeah, I mean, that's just one of these things. I mean, it's just, I mean, yeah, it looks good. It looks good. It looks good on the schedule, but it looks good on paper. We're like, oh yeah, we got the Pirates. But I mean, the Pirates probably have some call-ups that are trying to play for their jobs or trying to impress people. I'm like, oh, put me on the opening day roster this coming, or next year or something like that. So they're kind of playing for, a lot of these people are playing for their jobs as well. So it is going to be interesting to see, as far as can Cincinnati kind of hand it on.
Absolutely. It's an interesting point. I want to go back to that NL East match. Who do you think takes it, Braves or Phillies?
Braves or Phillies? I think the Braves. I think they still do. They're currently winning right now as we're recording right now against the Diamondbacks. So that's good news for them. And yeah, it's going to be it's going to be fun and interesting. I think they kind of win it out. The Phillies, though, they have been playing hot as of right now, and they walked it off tonight against Baltimore. So you can't rule it out. I mean, I would love to see, some play, maybe some game 163s to kind of decide the division. I want, the Dodgers against the Giants, and then we
I don't
have, and then
I
have
want the
Atlanta.
Dodgers to have to play the 1-game wild card.
but then you have that, but then Atlanta playing
to win 100 games and then have to play in the 1-game wild card.
Well, I would love that. Well, I would love that. Plus have Atlanta probably playing 2 games to kind of decide the NL East or something like that. Playing 2 games where they, where they have to play the Padres or the Rockies or something like that to kind of help and decide the NL East.
I said, I mean, I know I kind of bashed the Pirates just now, and they gave the Reds, almost basically eliminated the Reds, but the Phillies have the Orioles, the Pirates, and then the 3-game series at the Braves, which is going to be huge. And then they finished the year against the Marlins. So it's a really good soft schedule for the Phillies.
That 3-game
series about the Reds, but I mean, I'll say it again about the Phillies. It looks good on paper for the Phillies.
Yes, but that 3-game series against the Braves, I think that's going to be the deciding factor. Like who wins the NL East. That 3 games right there, that's going to decide who wins the NL East.
Absolutely, it's going to be exciting. I said that NL West with the Giants and the Dodgers, that's just been an exciting race all year long. You gotta, I mean, the Giants have led the whole way. I gotta root for the Giants to close this thing out.
Yeah, you gotta root. You gotta root for the Giants, I guess, in the way. And currently right now they're losing 4-1, but that never has distraught them. They can easily probably make a nice little comeback and probably in the 7th, 8th inning and kind of win as well. And kind of keep this lead of the NL West, this really thin lead right now with the NL West. So it is very, very exciting. And really, I mean, those are probably the 2 best teams in baseball right there are the San Francisco and the Giants. It's just really a shame that one of them has to play literally in a 1-game playoff.
That hopefully the Dodgers lose.
Yes.
Oh, come on. You want to see it just as bad as I do.
I know. Well, what would the overreaction would be if they, if the Dodgers do lose? I mean, what would the overreaction be? Like everybody would, I swear to God, like you would have Stephen A. Smith probably the next day getting so mad that it's just like, how does a 100-win team not make it to the actual playoffs?
Well, yeah, honestly, the Dodgers losing would probably end the 1-game playoff.
Oh yeah, that would definitely
end it. If a 100-win Dodger team goes to that game and loses to the Cardinals, which they will.
He said it, folks, not me.
Hey, the Cardinals are rolling, man. And it seems like all of a sudden their pitching staff turns into like the 98 Braves in September.
I know. I know. It's just one of these things. And it's just, I gotta eat crow with it.
Yeah. Let's talk about the AL though. AL, You got that exciting wild card race with 3 teams in the same division. I mean, it's coming down to the wire in the AL East with that wild card. Who do you got there?
With the wild card right now, I mean, it really is kind of up in the air right now. Between the Yankees and Boston. I mean, both teams won. Toronto won as well. I mean,
Yeah, don't forget about
I would love, yeah, I would love the Blue Jays. I mean, I really do like the Blue Jays. I like their young talent. I mean, I would love to see the Blue Jays actually kind of make it right now, to kind of see this rebuilding project actually come and actually being built, so, and really, I mean, that would be a fun thing, and have them playing against, maybe Boston or New York. So that would just be an interesting thing right now. So I would love to see Toronto right now. Right.
Huge series this weekend between the Red Sox and the Yankees. That is going to be a monstrous series. And then after that, Boston gets the Orioles and the Nationals to finish this thing. So I still think Boston's going to win it. And then you have the Blue Jays, I think, maybe taking second, with the Yankees, unfortunately, looking like maybe they might be the odd team out.
Yeah, it is going to be interesting. Yeah, just seeing, the kind of the odd team out, and you can't, I mean, and you still have Oakland and Seattle kind of lurking a little bit. They're kind of in it, 2,
They're
3
beating
games
each other up, though. They have they have like 4 games left against each other.
Yeah, so that could decide, if one of those teams, if Oakland got hot, and then maybe Seattle got hot, and then, maybe the Toronto and the Yankees kind of fall off. Boom, there's Oakland and Seattle kind of going up and playing for that 1-game playoff against Boston.
Oh man, that would be fun.
That would be fun. I'd be all in favor of it. Just
I'm all for some good baseball.
Give me some craziness of baseball. I just want craziness. Just give me crazy baseball. That's what I just want. I just want some good games and a nice tight race. I mean, really, I guess really the best thing too is right now is talking about that second, this second wild card, because really that's been really a good storyline, and adding that second wild card, it's just, we wouldn't be talking about it, to be honest. I mean, I guess we would be talking about the AL wild card, but we wouldn't be talking about really the NL, the NL wild card right now. We would just be talking about the playoff picture right now. We'd be like, oh, who wins the West? Who gets that wild card? Obviously, it's going to be San Fran, LA back in the day. It's just like St. Louis really wouldn't have a chance, to kind of get in that wild card game, because the Dodgers really would have had that locked up as well. So yeah, it's just really fun to have this second wild card. It really is a good thing. Don't tear it down, MLB, please. Even if the Dodgers end up, or the Dodgers or the Giants, if they get in and they end up losing in that wild card, please don't tear it down. This would just be a total overreaction.
It definitely would. That's probably your overreaction, though, if it happens.
Yes, it would. Yes, I mean, it would just be that. It would just be like, oh my God, really? It's such a fun thing. You just have like anomalies or something like that. Really, it's just an anomaly year where it's just like, you know what, you had 2 really, it's just one of these you just throw up, and like this year is an anomaly. Okay,
it is.
Don't freak out.
Now let's look at it. Let's talk about those postseason awards. Who are you giving? I mean, everyone said that the consensus MVP has been Ohtani this whole time. Is it Ohtani for you?
It will be Ohtani. He has been really, I mean, I guess the best thing for him is that he has, he's really pitched pretty, he's pitched pretty good. I mean, and he's staying as a pitcher, and he's still playing, that pitcher spot, compared to like the past few years, with the 162, where it's just when they've had a 162 game schedule, where it's just like really he pitches for until like May, and then really he just becomes like a DH hitter, really. So yeah, the fact that he's still playing right now, I mean, that's really impressive, really. I mean, the fact that he's, pitching and hitting at the same time in the MLB is still like fascinating to me.
Oh, I mean, he's fantastic to watch. I think he probably wins it. I mean, Vlad Guerrero, though, is pretty much propelling those Blue Jays potentially into the playoffs. I mean, you can't write him off.
You cannot write him off as well. I mean, I would not be mad if Guerrero did end up winning the MVP. I would be so happy. He really is, kind of lifting this Blue Jays team to kind of the playoff race. So, I mean, this is just going to be, yeah, it's just interesting, but it's just, I feel like everybody's just really like really likes Ohtani a lot. So, I mean, it's going to be one of those things, that they're just gonna be like, oh, we're just going to give it to Ohtani, because Ohtani just looks amazing. We love Ohtani.
He's a big market guy. He plays in LA.
He plays for the LA Angels.
And it's not taking anything away from him. He's fantastic. He's fun to watch. I mean, he is having a great year too and doing things that no one else has done. But his team's not going to get anywhere near the playoffs.
No, it is not. I mean,
and that's the biggest knock I have on him. And even the fact that Trout keeps winning it every year is the fact that the Angels don't play in the playoffs.
No, and they're not going to play in the playoffs this year.
They won't next year either. They won't. They don't have any pitching aside from Ohtani.
Yeah, it's just very, very frustrating, because it's just like you have these two generational talents, and it's just really you're letting these primes just literally slip away from these guys, and it's so frustrating with like the Angels, because it's just like, why can't you be good? Why can't you be like a 96 win team?
Because Ohtani can only pitch every 5 days. He can't pitch every day. That is
true. No, that's what they should do in the offseason. That's what the Angels should do. They should just clone like 6 Ohtanis or something like that. Here, you pitch.
6 Ohtanis and 3 Trouts as your starting lineup.
That's right. Yes. And teach one of the Trouts how to pitch, in the bullpen.
Yeah. Teach one of the Trouts how to pitch. Yes. One plays center field, one plays second base.
Yeah. That's what I want. Oh man, give me that anytime.
Yeah. Wow. Okay,
we're going off the rails now.
We always do.
We always do.
NL MVP. We'll try to get it back on the rails. NL MVP. Who do you got?
This is a very tough one, because it just like it seemed like all year I'm like, oh, Tatis is going to win. 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 No, and now here comes Bryce Harper kind of sneaking up there, and now like Bryce Harper, I mean he leads the NL in slugging percentage and OPS. I mean it's just like an extra base hits. I mean.
Yeah, he looks like the guy. I think it's got to be Bryce Harper.
He looks like the guy. I mean, it's just as much as I really I'm not a big Bryce Harper fan. I mean, you got to give credit where credit's due. Like he's really kind of, and usually
remember 6 months ago where we said he was washed up on the show and then he wasn't that good. Now here we are 6 months later saying he should win MVP.
Oh, I remember. I feel like a member berry right now.
I know, man.
Yeah, I mean,
we are able to point out when we are wrong on this show.
We will eat crow. I will. Trust me. I gotta go to a Golden Corral. I got to eat a Golden Corral amounts of crow really with my Giants pick. Really, I mean, it's just I thought the Giants were just going to be really a really crappy team, but here they are. They're competing in the NL West. So really, I got to eat really a Golden Corral. Dinner worth of crow, with that pick. So yeah, it goes to show you we don't know anything. We're just two guys just talking about we have no knowledge whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you survived a year's worth of this show, you probably know we don't know what we're talking about.
Yeah, we don't know it.
We like to talk about it, and we get proven wrong sometimes. But I don't think anyone had the Giants being this good. I mean, let's look at it realistically.
Yes, exactly. Yes, and it's just like they're in the postseason hunt, and really, I mean, Bryce has been one of the big keys right now, and really, he's really played really well right now, and helping this Phillies team kind of stay in the playoff hunt right now. So you got to give credit where credit's due, and it looks like it's Harper's to win right now.
I agree. Now let's move along, because I mean I'll talk about the obvious one, and we just mentioned it with the Giants. I mean, Gabe Kapler's got to win Manager of the Year, right?
Yes, he is definitely has to be probably the Manager of the Year. Really, I mean, it's just really nobody even probably thought of this Giants team as being a contender and being the record that they're having this year. But he has done a phenomenal job with this Giants organization. Really, I mean, it's just and somehow getting that one last ounce of this kind of this 2010 magic. Really, I mean. With Posey, Belt and Crawford, really. I mean, they're getting that last squeeze of ounce, of that magic, and it's coming to work. And yeah, he should be a slam dunk. Yes, he should be the slam dunk, NL manager of the year.
Absolutely. I have Kevin Cash of the Rays second and Craig Counsell of the Brewers actually third.
Yeah,
If I was
Craig
filling
Counsell.
out a ballot.
Really, if it wasn't for the Giants having this extraordinary year with Gabe Kapler, like Craig Counsell is my pick, because really that Brewers team is playing really well, and really, I mean, they've just been kind of mowing along through this entire NL Central. Really, I mean, they really kind of dominated, really from basically July on, just dominated this NL Central.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to give them credit. They've done a great job.
Yeah, I mean, here's where the credit. I mean, St. Louis, even with their streak right now, they won 10 games in a row.
Right?
No, yeah, where they won 10 games in a row. They're still 10 and a half back.
Yeah,
like that's how wide of a lead they have. So yeah, I mean, Craig Counsell would have been my pick if it wasn't for Gabe Kapler having this amazing year so far for the Giants.
Absolutely. Let's talk about that Cy Young award.
Boy, I mean, how can he not give it to Scherzer? I mean, Scherzer has just been really, really dominant. I mean, how can he not give it to Scherzer?
Yeah, you gotta give it to Scherzer.
He has just looked amazing right now.
Yeah, absolutely. You gotta give it to Scherzer in the NL. I think he, as soon as he got over to the Dodgers, took that thing by storm.
Right. Yeah.
It's definitely Scherzer. Who do you got in the AL?
Oh man, this is a tough one. This is a tough one. To be honest, I mean, I mean, really, I mean, you got some contenders, I guess,
I mean, you got Robbie Ray.
Robbie Ray.
Cole.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, yeah, I mean, I would, you know what? My pick would actually probably be Robbie Ray. I mean, really, I mean, this guy was kind of really left for dust, really, with the Diamondbacks, really. I mean, he was this nice up and coming pitcher, kind of, and really, kind of left for dust. Really, it just really didn't perform well in Arizona, but then he's really kind of turned his career around in Toronto and has looked amazing.
Absolutely, and especially because, I mean, as much as we like this, I don't think Vlad Jr. is going to win MVP. So this should honestly be the Blue Jays' consolation, because any other year, Vlad Jr. is the MVP. But Robbie Ray should get the Cy Young. He's done a great job this year. I feel like Garrett Cole's doing what we expect Garrett Cole to do. I don't think anyone expected Robbie Ray to be this pitcher this season.
No, we did not. And we got to give credit to the Lance Lynn for the White Sox. I mean, Lance Lynn has looked really well. Yeah, he's looking pretty good as well. So, I mean, it's going to really be a tight race. And I'm really kind of curious who is going to win the AL Cy Young.
Lance Lynn feels like is like the most underrated pitcher of like the last decade. Like, he never really has a bad season yet. Like, somehow the Cardinals casted him off. He like just kind of floats around between teams and like has been really good the whole last decade.
Yeah, and he was so dominant for, he was probably the best thing that happened with Texas last year during this pandemic season. I mean, really, was Lance Lynn. I mean, you're right. He has looked amazing for all these teams, and it's a
good pick too, actually.
Yeah. It's just, because it's just, I mean, he had a little bit of a struggle with Minnesota and New York, but I mean, with Texas, he has really kind of flourished, kind of bring back his career a little bit. But yeah, even with St. Louis, I mean, he was, he
was good.
Yeah, I mean, he
never had an ERA over 4.
Had it, yeah. I mean, really, the closest was 2013. When he, 3.97, but yeah, nothing over 3. And then yeah, once he went to Minnesota and then the Yankees, I mean, it's just was 4. Then yeah, he came to revive his career back in Texas, and he's thriving too with the White Sox.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy. I think he's one of the most underrated pitchers in the league.
You're right. I definitely agree with you on that one. He definitely is the most underrated pitcher, probably of this generation. Yeah,
absolutely. All right, so we gave out like the good awards. Who gets the most disappointing team award?
Oh man,
for me, it's Minnesota.
Yeah, it really has to be Minnesota.
With they had all this expectations,
and yeah, and they look good.
Like
Yeah,
going into the season, they look
yeah,
good.
yeah. They had all these expectations, and yeah, they're in the bottom right now of the AL Central right now. So
Yeah.
So I mean that's just one of those things, and I'm trying to think as well. I mean, it's just I didn't really care so much about the Mets or something like that. Yeah,
I mean, you gotta
yeah,
say, I mean, if they don't make it to the playoffs, it's the biggest. I mean, the Padres too were such
yeah.
a disappointment, just because like everyone's talking about, oh yeah, they're gonna battle the Dodgers and for the division. There could be a World Series pick, and they probably won't even make it.
You're right. They probably won't even make it. And yeah, I'm yeah, I agree with you. I think San Diego for me. I agree with you. I think San Diego for me is probably the worst. That's been probably the most disappointing team for me because you just have all that talent really, and they kind of really upgraded the pitching staff and their bullpen. I mean, the bullpen looked a little bit shaky in 2020, but it looked like they can kind of improve in 2021. But no, I mean, but they started out like game busters, and then really, I mean, they've been probably the most disappointing team in the second half of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And maybe they are more disappointing than Minnesota in that they got their fans' hopes up and then like blew it.
Yeah, I mean, they just have all these, all these predictions. Just everybody's just, it's just so excited for all that, get them very, very excited. And yeah, and then they've really kind of fell off the map a little bit.
Certainly did. I mean, obviously, and now all their bandwagon fans are trying to find a new place to jump.
Oh yeah, and they have like the chains, and it's like, it's like, yeah, they had the chains and the kind of like the cricket hat. Really,
yeah.
Really, the problem is that they went back to that jersey colors. Really, I mean that brown and yellow. I mean, it's God blessed America. It's the worst combination of colors. Really, there's only one college that uses that color, and that's Wyoming, and it's disgusting too. So it's just like, why do you bring back that? Seriously. It's a terrible, terrible color combination. You people with these 70s, these people who were born in the 70s, or something like that, or, kind of grew up watching baseball in the 70s. They talked about the Padres of like, oh my God, those were amazing uniforms. Those uniforms sucked then and they suck now.
Exactly. Remember, like the Broncos kind of had that same color scheme when they first started out.
Yeah. And we burned them. We burned them after the first year.
Fire.
Yeah. We set them on fire. It was terrible.
True story.
True story. Yes, I totally forgot about that. You're right. It's a terrible color combination. Get rid of it. Go back to the 90s one. And now I got my 90s rose tinted glasses on. Go back to the 90s because you actually had success in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. my rant of the week.
I mean, 90% of that success was Tony Gwynn, but you had some, yes.
Yes. I mean, really, it's a terrible color combination. Why did you go back to it? It's just a terrible color combination. It's terrible. You look terrible. I mean, really, you look like a UPS driver out there sometimes.
They do. Like I said, you have to put a rest in peace on the San Diego Padres bandwagon. Rest in peace, Tombstone 2020 to 2021.
At least for this year, maybe they could come back next year.
The bandwagon has been derailed.
Yes.
All of a sudden, all these Padre fans came out of the woodwork, and now they will crawl back to whatever rock they've been hiding under the last 25 years.
We will have to wait and see with that.
Yep. We certainly will. All right. Anything else you wanted to talk about before we move on to the end of the show? And we will I don't know. Who knows? Maybe we'll get back into something else next week. We got hockey coming up. We got
hockey, and then our favorite basketball. Could be as we're returning at the end of October. So I'm making a joke.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we'll review another Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. Who knows?
During NBA opening night. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll have to review another Jean-Claude Van Damme movie.
Absolutely.
Yes.
maybe we'll even label the show NBA preview to get clicks, and then we'll
I like
NBA
that. Yes, we'll rickroll the
clicks.
people. Yes, I love that. Let's rickroll the people.
Yeah. We'll rickroll them, and then we will review Universal Soldier or something. Who knows?
I'm down for that. Give me Universal Soldier, or heck, let's do Kickboxer. Let's do Lionheart or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, we will definitely have to do that. In any event, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the show. We hope you'll go back, watch all of our other episodes, and be sure to join us back here next week. We'll be talking about maybe some hockey and who knows what else.
All right, guys. Thank you. Peace.